Good evening. This meeting of the Pender County Board of Education is now called to order. A quorum has been established, and at this time, we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Springer, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as our elementary all-county chorus will sing our national anthem and then afterward perform a song for us via a previously recorded performance. Everyone can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our elementary all-county chorus. As they did a really fine job, and I hope that they're all listening tonight because it would have been tough to have gotten 90 sets of parents in here. So thank you all. And for right now, I would like to call up Mr. Gardner Akins for our invocation.
Well, let's bow, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much, Lord, for this day. We just thank you, dear Lord, for the stage of this year that brought us here tonight. Lord, from the beginning of the year to where we are now, we just thank every single person that's represented here. Lord, from the board to the cabinet to the parents to the children, we just thank you so much for the many blessings you've rained out upon us. Lord, not that we ever could deserve it or earn it, but because of the great love that you have for us, we just thank you for the way that you brought us here. We just pray that you are glorified and honored in everything that's said and done today. We just thank you again for here. We thank you for the people. We thank you, dear Lord, for the children. which is the reason that we're here. And we just pray that you will bless them and just allow them to finish strong. Lord, for the decisions that need to be made, we pray for wisdom to rain down. We pray for calm. Lord, we just pray for just ultimate, just unity to be able to commit to your will. But we love you and we thank you. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Akins. Okay, at this time, board members, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include open meetings procedures.
Second.
Okay, under what?
We'll add that to the action agenda as the last item, so I guess that would be
9.4.
9.4. Thank you, sir.
And I'm sorry, what was that again?
Open meetings procedures.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Springer? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to hand it over to Mr. Frank Bonner for our recognitions.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Yes, we have two different groups for recognitions tonight. I'll ask Bobby Simmons to come up. Mr. Simmons is the principal at Cape Fear Middle School, and he has some teachers that he would like to recognize tonight. And those teachers are going to get a lot of recognition because of what you're recognizing them for, which is pretty cool.
I got a few things. Board, thank you, Dr. Breedlove Cabinet, thank you for allowing us this opportunity to recognize our ELA staff that we have at Cape Fear Middle School. Just to recap, last year, Pender County Schools Board of Education approved Common Lit 360 as our curriculum for our middle schools, and since that time, PCS secondary instructional staff and middle school teachers have worked collaboratively with Common Lit to implement the curriculum. In February, staff from Common Lit visited several schools, and their staff was so impressed with the teaching and learning at Cape Fear Middle School, they wanted to feature us in their upcoming marketing and professional development series. Some instructional strategies they recognized were differentiation, rigor, student engagement, and all of our ELA classes. So from April 9th to 12th, the Common Lit staff, as well as a small production crew, was on site to film our classrooms and interview staff. Videos, pictures, testimonials, they'll all be used in Common Lit's professional development and on their website. So after being involved in our classrooms, they want to continue this partnership with us, and plans are in the works to film throughout the 2024-25 school year. And being featured by Common Lit is an honor and recognizes the great things that are happening at Cape Fear. So tonight we're going to take the time. We have 3 members missing due to surgery and a couple of illnesses, but we're going to recognize the folks that are here and the wonderful staff that we have in our ELA department. So first up, William Donahoe. Come on up, Mr. Donahoe. Dana Elliott. And Alex Mills. Ms. Mills, come on up.
Yes, sir.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. we see your face this time? There we go. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And then our other recognition tonight, Craig Lawson is going to introduce us to 2 different groups from 2 different schools that went
Regionals.
2 rounds up.
Yeah, 2 rounds.
I'm trying to keep the 2
There you
theme.
go, two. All right. Thank you, Bob. Tonight, I'm honored to recognize the remarkable achievements of our Battle of the Books champions at the elementary and middle school levels. Sponsored by the North Carolina School Library Media Association, this competition not only ignites a passion for reading, but also hones critical thinking, teamwork, and literary analysis skills. Firstly, I'd be honored to bring up Miss Edith Honchel, the coach for Pender Lee. Pender Lee School is our elementary Battle of the Books champions. They also went on to get 2nd place at regionals, so that's super, super exciting. And as I call your names, champions, please step forward to receive your certificate. And you can kind of form a line here in the front. And then afterwards, we'll give your coach a moment to share some information. This one right here? All right. Olivia Brown. Oh, okay. Aubrey Kinlaw. Paisley Rooks. Laurel Points. Caitlin Kissler. Anna Deli Hernandez. And Samantha Lopez. So again, these students, how many of you read all 15 books? So that's amazing. They read 15 books to get ready for this competition. They competed wonderfully at both the state and regional level, so I'm very, very proud of them. Do you have anything you'd like to add, Ms. Anshul?
Yes. Having participated in this, if you are familiar, it's a points game. But each time we went up, this team during the regional round won every single round. It just depends on what happens in other rounds that caused us to get second over first. But I'm so proud of the fact that they won every single round that they participated.
Mike needs you all to squeeze in a little bit. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna get really close. I'm gonna get one of your medals.
Those are pretty cool medals.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right, so moving on to our middle school, Surf City Middle. I take immense pride in honoring this middle school and those champions who earned well-deserved 3rd place at the regional competition. So again, we had 2nd place and then 3rd place at the regionals. While their coach, Mary Tobin, couldn't be here tonight, we extend our heartfelt thanks for her dedication to Battle Books program throughout the years. At this time, I would like to invite Surf City Middle's assistant principal up to join me. If you don't mind, sir, coming on up here. And middle school champions, as I call your names again, please come forward to receive your certificate and line up here in the front. All right. Rosalie Walker. Anastasia Radowitz. Taylor Evans. Mallory Kulis. Will Aiken. There's Will. Juliet Gonzalez. Caden Allen. Evan Dalton. Olivia Patagallen. Kylie Renee. Abriana Soda. Lainey Abernathy. And Angie Schmitz. All right. All right. Well, again, thank you. And they wrote, how many of you read all 20 books? Because you guys had 20. One? All right. Well, that's an outstanding job again. The rest of you, I can't imagine. It's probably more than I've read in the last couple of years. So, fantastic job, as always. Would you like to say something, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, obviously, I'm not the coach, but I mean, I just want to let y'all know that what y'all do every day motivates me. When you can sit up here and say you read 20 books and you read 15 and stuff like that, that motivates me to continue to learn. So I want to thank y'all for that.
Trying to make sure I see everybody. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you.
Great job, y'all.
Nice job,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Okay, at this time, we are going to have public comments. And before I call up our one person who signed up tonight, I'm going to read a statement. The Pender County Board of Education welcomes comments from our parents, students, and community. Public comment period is open for members of the public, including parents and students, to voice compliments, concerns, or complaints about the performance of school personnel, implementation of board policy, the quality of education programs, or school facilities. Each person is granted 3 minutes for their presentation. This portion of the meeting is for the board to hear matters of interest from the public. However, obscene, vulgar, or profane statements and statements reasonably perceived to be disruptive or imminently threatening to the orderly operation of the meeting shall not be permitted. Okay, as I said, we have one person signed up, Mr. Duke Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Beth. I'm reading this on behalf of my son, Dallas Smith, who is a Topsail High School wrestler. He's at home studying for a math exam that he's going to have tomorrow, so I'll give him that. Thank you for allowing me to address a mistake made by the Topsail High School administration. They felt the need to abruptly terminate Pete Smith as the head coach based on minor infractions. Coach Pete improved the Topsail wrestling program. He publicized wrestling, led fundraisers, and got the community interested in wrestling. He welcomed beginners. He didn't have tryouts. He had kids try it out. Wrestling is not for everyone, but Pete welcomed anyone. People who had wrestled in the past wanted to be part of Pete's program. At one time, we had 9 volunteer coaches sharing their skills with the team. When I met Coach Pete as a freshman, he was funny and compassionate. Everything was a teaching moment. He even taught us life skills. He taught us how to write a check, address envelopes, and write letters. The relationship Pete built with his athletes made him easy to talk to. He's definitely a teacher. After practice, kids would circle around him like a school of fish wanting to talk to him. He is approachable and available for his team. He is devoted to Topsail wrestling. When he was given the choice to quit or be fired, Pete chose not to quit. He chose the team. He said these kids are worth it. All season, the team has been faced with extreme adversity. Wrestling is a low to no budget program, and our coach was apparently working under leadership that was not in his favor. In the 2 years that I have wrestled, Topsail Wrestling has built a name for itself with minimum support from Topsail High School administration. We would have loved for members of the administration to have attended more of our matches. If they had, they might have been more about the community that they say they are helping by firing Pete. Dealing with high schoolers isn't for everybody. We can be immature and unpredictable. We are future adults, and we are still learning ourselves. We deserve second chances, and so does Coach Pete. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, though it may not be on the agenda tonight, I am confident that a clear decision has already been made in your powers to overrule the wrongful termination, and you have decided to reinstate Pete Smith. For knowing what I know, and I am sure you now know, in my heart I cannot see it going any other way. I do question and cannot understand how as an investigator you can only question the actions of Coach Pete Smith during these seasons. It seems a proper investigation would have attorneys asking about the decisions and involvements of the athletic director and assistant principal. Questions like, how would you characterize their involvement, actions throughout the seasons? After all, these are the folks who took it upon themselves to see Pete fired. It seems that their lack of involvement should now be addressed. Dr. Breedlove, you may have allowed Coach Pete to be terminated, but we're not going to give up the ship, okay? And thank you so much for having us tonight.
Okay, next on the agenda is information. Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Afternoon, board members.
Thank
evening,
you.
Whatever time it is. So you have in front of you.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it depends on what side of the world you're on. You have in front of you the policies that were covered in committee of the whole meeting. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have about them. The first one deals with pre-suspension rights of students and suspends the ability for a pre-suspension hearing when there's a substantial risk in place. The hearing will still take place, just at a different time. The second one deals with the adding additional considerations for recommendation of long-term suspensions, and you can read through the changes there in red there in your packet. 4330 involves some minor changes for the most part. It defines the roles of who may be involved in school level investigations, including those where there is reasonable suspicion that a law has been broken. 2115, a couple of minor changes to this one as well. It's an update to comply with partisan school board elections to fill a vacant seat on Pender County School Board to abide by the general statute. And 3415R, real quickly, just a couple of small changes on this one as well. It updates the required final examinations. Students maintain reasonable attendance and academic performance may be exempt from those final exams. Any questions on those policies? Again, these are first read. They will be brought back to committee of the whole and to the next board meeting in June for second read.
I did have a question about 4340, the school level investigations. Have we brought principals in on on the changes to this, and how are they feeling about it?
We have discussed these with the principals, yes. Until the policy is completely updated, we want to make sure we had everything in place
Okay.
before we go into that. We have discussed, there's a fine line between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. We
Right.
have certain pieces that we can meet to investigate. Law enforcement has those as well. Whenever certain things are brought up in terms of vape devices, things of that nature, they know to include the SRO in those.
Very good. I just wanted to make sure that this would not impede, that this particular, some of the wording in it, I was a little worried that it might impede on the principal's abilities.
Yeah.
And to go in and perform their investigation before they called in SROs. And I believe in a good cohesive relationship between principal and SRO. I truly do. I was just reading some of this, and like I said, I was kind of wondering what the principals was left thinking.
I will say, just add to that, when an investigation is done inside of a school, we deal with policy, procedure, school rules. And I think what the policy now stipulates is once you have crossed that line into possible law being broken, that's where the SRO steps in and we step out at that point if the SRO chooses to do so. But to Mr. Taylor's point, probable cause versus reasonable suspicion. And that's sort of the world that we operate in as school administration. And I think it helps better define what that line is with the new policy.
Yes, sir. And I know this is first read. I would very much like to hear what principal feedback is next month, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, if I can, Mr. Chair.
Sir.
It says, upon conducting an interrogation of a student indicates that law enforcement involvement is appropriate. Who's going to make the deciding factor of whether it's appropriate or not?
And the school principal. Now, there are certain times when school principal may not be available and there's a crime being committed, right?
Right.
So SRO is charged with taking care of the law. Again, we operate off reasonable suspicion instead of probable cause. So we may have more ability to question the child about what's going on, what happened, than the SRO may at that time.
I just want to clarify or say that we need to make sure all principals are on board. All principals are on board with this.
Yep.
Caveat to what Ms. Burns was saying. I'm not against what's the way it reads, but I've seen time and time again where we had developed policy and they do their own thing. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to add to that is I want to make sure, since we're talking about minors, that if you're talking about law enforcement, that their parents or whoever their guardians are duly notified so that they can be there. Because I know if I had a child in that situation, I would want to know if a law enforcement officer is talking with them. And so I would be adamant that that would be taking place, that the parents would not be losing their rights in this situation.
Okay, Board.
Yes, sir.
Is there any more questions?
And by the word impede, would that constitute, or would that justify a principal trying to call a parent at home after an investigation started? It would not?
No.
Is there a way we could add that?
We have
If the
to-
board agreed?
We have constant communication with parents whenever we investigate something. For example, we notice Kevin may have brought something to school he shouldn't have. We're going to notify the parent pretty quickly in that scenario. Hey, just want to let you know Kevin brought something to school he shouldn't have. We're continuing to investigate. I'll follow up with you later.
So it would be permissible for a principal to call a parent and let the parent know that law enforcement has taken over the investigation, to also let them know the law enforcement is going to be conducting an investigation and they may show up at their house.
Could be. In some instances, if, for example, if the parent is part of complaint, we would not divulge that information to the parent, for example.
Okay, board, are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Taylor. Okay, board, you've had an opportunity to read and study the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions about any item on the
We
consent
still have
agenda?
some items left on
I'm
information.
so sorry, we certainly do. Trying to move ahead of you there, Mr. Taylor, I'm sorry. Facility naming, facility naming proposal 7.6.
Yes, ma'am. What I'm bringing to your attention this evening, board, is Heidi Trask High School and Topsail High School are currently in the process of requesting permission to name rooms, structures, or other spaces on their campus to recognize contributions made by worthy persons. This would be in accordance with Policy 9300. Second paragraph of the policy states that we can bring names to you. However, in conversation with several people, we recognized that there was no process other than just coming before you. So we worked, and it was included in the board packet. After Cal was emailed to you, and I realized it wasn't in the Cal agenda, so I emailed it to you then, but it is in the current agenda packet, Policy 9300. The policy stated there, and then we have some steps and guidelines to allow our schools the process to move through bringing to you a proposal to name rooms, structures, or other facilities on the campus, but obviously not the school. And then I also included the current facilities modification request form that we ask all schools to provide to us anytime they're doing anything on their campuses that may impact operations, et cetera. Are there any questions or concerns with the guidelines that we provided to them?
Who would be financially held liable or responsible, I guess, for if we are making name changes? Who would be paying for that? Would it be our system, or would it be the individual group that's pursuing this?
The individual groups pursuing it is what has been done in the past. I think when CF Pope was renamed, and then Topsail Annandale also had a school name change, but in this situation, it would be the booster clubs and the school persons or outside donors. There would be no fiscal impact to the school system as a whole.
That's not in the policy, though. Am I missing it?
No, sir, it is not in the policy.
Should it be in there?
It would not be a bad idea to include that.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
So that could be a
Just, you know,
policy change.
in the intent that, in the circumstance that a booster club or whomever might be wanting to name the facility goes to our policy
Yes, sir.
website, they would be able to see it.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be a surprise.
So that would be your recommendation moving forward for me to work with Mr. Taylor to bring policy 9300 first read next time?
I would.
Yes, sir.
I
Do
would
you-
agree with that.
Sir?
I said I would agree with that
Sir.
if the other board members are also.
Okay, sounds great.
Another recommendation I would have in addition to the cost aspect would be the time frame. Now, I understand probably most of the things, I don't know if that's necessary, you know, if something's gonna be done in perpetuity, to make it clear, if it's done for a 20-year period, I don't know. And part of the other aspect in my mind is I've seen in other places where there'll be, obviously this is done a lot at universities, you know, where you'll have a stadium or something like that with a corporate donor that pays a certain amount to the school as a donation for the naming rights.
Yes, sir.
I think that should be included in here as well. Not saying that we have anybody interested in that right now, but if we were to encounter that in the future, we wouldn't be caught flat-footed. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Where if we, you know, if we could get a corporate donor saying, hey, you know, we'll give you the naming rights to this stadium for 5 or 10 years for $100,000 or $200,000 and use that to buy football equipment, uniforms, all types of other things, I think that would, understanding that process and laying it out in policy language, I think would be beneficial. So that would just be my recommendation. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that.
I would concur with that. About 5 years ago, Mr. Cordero, we talked about something similar with that. And so about paying for some of these additions. So yeah, I think that would be something to actually have it in writing would be good.
Okay, can you state for me again specifically, just so I don't misunderstand?
Sure, policy language that addresses the circumstance of selling naming rights to an area, building, school, to a corporate sponsor. You know, and that could be as simple as like, you know, a baseball field, right? You've got the fencing area and a baseball field, and you want to sell an 8x10 panel of the fence, and you want to, you know, take the entire outfield and split it into 15 sections.
Yes,
You can
sir.
sell, you know, 15 sections for $1,000 a piece. That's 15 grand that goes toward that sports program.
Gotcha.
But obviously, the board has to authorize that, right? So I think that might be something that would be beneficial. And I could see happening all the time with small businesses, you know, for
Yes, sir.
smaller donations and sections of fence, stuff like that.
Certainly, through the booster clubs and things of that nature. Yes, sir.
Or even if we did, I had suggested a few years ago about selling name rights to classrooms, like how you have a history hall and you have
Yes, sir.
classroom 1A could be the, whatever the name of, you know, I'm not going to use a corporate name because no one's paid me to plug them. But let's just say you were to put in Ken's Barber Shop and located in Atkinson, that if you were to put something like that, then we could have a dollar price on how much it would cost, you know, and then actually sell, and then that money could be used inside the school for some of the, for that department maybe. So it's a good conversation piece. I really
Sure.
believe that.
Absolutely. Well, I'll work, Mr. Taylor, to work on the specific language to the policy that was requested regarding the cost as an exception from the board, not by the board or the school system.
Is there an urgency that policy and language needs to be approved within a certain time frame to achieve the objective of these? It sounds like there's some pending requests, so I want to be sensitive.
There are 2 pending requests, yes, sir, but there are no requests for fiscal support or financial support from the board or the school system. These would
Do
be
you think we need to, do you have enough time to bring the draft language that we've requested to us before we act on those, or do you think we need to act on those sooner? I just want to be sensitive to the people that are.
Yes, sir. And I would request that you allow me to bring before the board in June these 2 requests for your approval, but at the same time with the first read of Policy 9300 in hand.
And I will say that I was at 2 meetings at one of our schools
Yes, ma'am.
that have renaming requests that they are wanting to bring to us. And I can say that there was overwhelming public support
Yes, ma'am.
for this on both counts.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate your consideration as a board to allow that to transpire in June if you so choose. All right, the second item for information this evening is the Child Nutrition Satisfaction Survey. First off, much appreciation to Mr. Craig Lawson for his work on this project. We did create a dashboard which will be shared with you this evening, but we do have a quick presentation or a slideshow that will show you some of the information that we were able to collect from our students. We did have 7,313 responses from students and parents, which is considerably larger than any response we've had in the past regarding child nutrition. So we were very excited to be able to utilize our Launchpad in ClassLink, which prompted students every single day they logged on to please take the survey if they had not done so. We had 48% of our elementary students, 58% of our middle and high school students, and 14% of our parents logged on within the 2-week time frame. Rocky Point Elementary had the highest student participation rate at almost 83%. Topsail Middle School had the highest middle and high school participation rate at almost at 87%. And Cape Fear Middle School had the highest participation rate among parents at 23%. The type of survey we used for our elementary students is multiple choice. We had 11 questions, and there was a visual support mechanism for all of our elementary students. So obviously they can't necessarily read everything, so we used images to capture their responses. First question that we asked them is, do you eat breakfast at school? About 50% say yes and 50% say no. Quite a few elementary students like the taste of breakfast at school. And they also liked the way it looked. As far as lunch goes, 76% of our students are eating lunch in the cafeteria. 76% like the taste. 70% like the way it looked. And an overwhelming number of our students like our cafeteria staff, 89%. This might be an area we can work on because obviously we want every student to feel like they have time to eat their lunch. But it's still overwhelmingly positive that they do have enough time to eat their lunch. Middle and high school students are a little more vocal, but we gave them a Likert scale where they had 5 choices to choose from. Do you eat breakfast at school? A very large number of them never eat breakfast at school, but we do have some who always eat at school. Satisfaction. If you do the numbers, obviously 50% or more do agree that it's okay or like it or even love it, but we have about 50% of our students who do eat breakfast that do not like it or hate it. I think the numbers are pretty much similar across the board. Each question that we asked, we had about 50 to 60% of our kids who said it was okay or liked it. Again, we have a significant number of our students in middle and high schools that actually eat lunch at school. I think the middle is where a lot of students find themselves. Cafeteria interactions, again, I think it seems appropriate to point out that our students do like our cafeteria staff, and they have a generally positive relationship with them. And then, again, about 50% of our kids like the food at lunch, but about 50% don't. Enough time. Again, our middle and high school students, this would be an area that we would like to look into, especially with over 1,600 of our kids saying that they don't have enough time to eat breakfast. Oh, that was breakfast. Sorry, I thought it was lunch. Questions got mixed up on me. Lunchtime, they do have enough, but breakfast is an issue, and we need to do a good job of trying to figure out what that issue is. Our parent survey, again, we had 15 questions for our parents. 55% of our parents said their children do not eat lunch at school. Those that do eat lunch, it looks like about 50% of them eat every day. Breakfast, I'm sorry. These are the responses to the, what kind of question is this, Mr. Lawson?
Well, it was just a
Where
multiple
is that?
choice,
It's
but
just lots of
they
choices.
could pick up to three
Three.
most,
So the most
likely reasons that their child would.
Right.
eat breakfast.
And the most prevalent reasons for our students, by our parents' perspective, eating breakfast at school is it's convenient and the children like the choices that are offered. Why the child doesn't eat breakfast, parents make the breakfast at home and it's healthier, and then the child does not arrive at school early enough in order to eat breakfast. I'm hoping that's car riders. Children who eat lunch, 78%. Again, more than half of them actually eat lunch every single day in the cafeteria. Is that breakfast again? I'm getting my breakfast and my lunch mixed up. I thought it went breakfast to lunch. Now see, this one is lunch. Again, the priority or the highest level of answers here is convenient for the child to eat provided lunch at school, and then school lunch is affordable and free or free. And then reasons why the child does not eat lunch at school. The child does not like how the lunch tastes, or the child does not like the choices that are offered. Overall experience from our parents' perspective, based on their child's input, more than 60% of our parents think that the children have a good or excellent experience. Any questions about that? We will share the presentation with you as well as the dashboard so you can look into it deeper. Did that answer? I know this was a request by the board. Did those questions did those questions get the information you were looking for?
Were there, was there a mechanism to make sure there was not duplicate, so one person couldn't answer 50 times?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What was that mechanism?
It was the email capture, I think, right, Mr.
For students, it was email verification. So I strip all that data out, so no one else sees that data, but it was for them to have to log on for our students to verify that.
I didn't have any questions, but I did have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember going out to a few elementary schools and talking to teachers about breakfast.
Did you say
one-
Pila? Sorry.
No, sir, just
school?
some of our elementary
Oh,
schools.
elementary students.
And talking to them about breakfast and what was served, how it affected the kids. Oh, they had plenty to say. Apparently, we are serving massive donuts. And apparently, a whole lot of carbs and a bunch of kindergartners, first graders, and second graders does not mix very well in the morning. And they have a really hard time pulling those kids back after they've had a donut about this size. My question has always been, could we look into giving them something, maybe with a little bit more protein? Look into maybe even giving them boiled eggs or something like that, giving them a protein option rather than constant carbs. Because, and I also remember back during COVID when we were getting the takeout meals.
Yes, ma'am.
There were a lot of Danishes and things like that, and even though they're whole grain, it's still a lot for those kids, and it kind of, all that sugar kind of amps them up. And I'm just saying, it would be nice if we could talk to Aramark about possibly getting something a little bit more healthy for breakfast.
Well, Airmark staff are here this evening, so they're hearing your comments over my left shoulder.
Oh,
I
there
don't
you
mind
go.
if they come
Hi,
up.
Thank you.
I'm sure that,
I will also add that we did ask students
that's fine with me.
about menu choices.
Yes.
And we were able to capture some of their wishes, which
Okay.
we've shared with our Airmark staff, and they will use to build our menus in the future.
if it's all
Okay.
right, I'd like to
Did-
ask Airmark to come up and, so they might be able to answer some questions, Ms.
Well,
Burns.
I didn't see
one
you come
other
in, Grace.
question.
Ms. Bernard, I was gonna say Ms. Bernard.
Did we get any feedback about how much the kids are getting to eat also? Was there anything,
We didn't ask those questions because
Right.
those portion sizes and servings are actually regulated by the federal government. I understand that some students may want more, some students may throw food away, but the reality is portions are controlled by the federal government's USDA child nutrition program.
okay,
We don't really have a lot of flexibility. We don't have any flexibility, if truth be known.
And that's exactly what I was going to say to talk about the breakfast items. So in clarification, in the current USDA regulations, there are no protein requirements at breakfast. It is carbohydrate in the form of a whole grain, a fruit, and a milk. That is all. So when we offer protein, which we do, right? We do that as a supplement to the program, but it is not a requirement, and it does come at a cost to the program. So it is understood and expected in the menus that we have in contract that we are supplementing with proteins, but we must offer that grain. It's a non-negotiable. Now, there are changes to the USDA regulations that are coming very soon and will impact us as soon as next year. So we're hoping to see some really positive changes around the breakfast programs, because we agree with you. It's pretty carb heavy as it stands.
right, and please don't take it as a slam. I was just giving feedback from what I'm hearing from a
100%.
lot
We've
of my
heard it for the last
elementary
10 years.
teachers. It would be nice, like I said, even if something as simple as a boiled egg or something, to
Yeah.
give them a little, something more substantial. But thank you, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And we do try to make sure the portion sizes are appropriate. So like the preschoolers get a half a donut, right? So that they're not seeing the whole portion. And that was kind of what our thought was. We talked about this a few board meetings back when we addressed the portion sizes being 4 French toast sticks versus 1 or 2 or 3, depending on their grade and their age level, right? Making sure that they're portion appropriate for that grade. So again, we'll continue to modify as the USDA rules change and as we hear feedback from the district about what you're looking for.
Okay,
Thank you
appreciate
for your
that.
time.
I have a question. Is there anything that you gained that you can take, any tools, positive tools you're going to use from this survey? Was there Did you feel that was beneficial to you? That
Absolutely. I mean, I will also agree that it was wonderful to see the positive feedback about our staff, right? These are community members of Pender County. So really, really lovely to see. Not surprising that secondary students often answer that sort of middle of the road in surveys, right? So I would say that we were not surprised by the results, but anything, that there were a lot of really positive feedback, which we were of course, hopeful for. The team here strives to do the best. But as I said the last time, there's always opportunity to do better. So we can glean a few things from this, and we're hopeful that when we do the next round of surveys, that we do have the student viewpoint surveys that Aramark pays the third-party vendor for, that have a lot more details, that ask driven questions to get to what do you want to serve. If you're not eating in school, what might entice you to do that, right? So we can get a lot more feedback and continue to ask the community as we go.
have you done any kind of community outreach to the parents to invite them to come in and have lunch or breakfast with their child,
Yes.
and that way they could actually experience firsthand? Because a lot of those parents taking the survey, how many of them actually have been there in the cafeteria? So that might be something for the next school year, that you could, move it around the district some and just have like a a show and tell kind of thing, and just and really brag on what your staff is doing.
I
So
love that.
might
That's
be
a
an
great
idea. So
There were doing a lot of principal sponsored events in the schools, really, where if the principal is engaged and wants to have the parents come and visit, then we have seen a ton of that in the last year. And I know Amanda's done a lot of work in getting into the buildings and making that apparent to the principals that it's on offer. We'll continue that as well.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to say one thing before y'all step away. So I went and did a couple observations at the cafeterias, and what I'll say is that, the times have came down, right? So that's a kudos to your staff. But something else I would add that could continue to be worked on is our staff is helping serve breakfast, right? You as a contractor are responsible, or should be responsible, for employing more people to not have our staff back there serving you all's food.
Can you give us feedback after the meeting about what specific schools and
Yep.
situations? Perfect. Thank
I
you.
will just tell you it was in the elementary schools
Okay.
on the west side.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go into a 20-minute recess, and we will be back. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence. Our recess is over, and we are going into the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda passes. Next is number 9, our action agenda. 9.1, CTE update and local plan 2024-25.
Good evening, Board. For the next 2 items on the action agenda, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Dominique Bates to talk about the CTE program and a current purchase.
Good evening, Pender County Schools Board of Education, Dr. Breedlove and Cabinet. It's an honor to be standing in front of you, an honor to serve Pender County Schools every day as Director of Career and Technical Education. Tonight I get to highlight Pender County Schools CTE, talk about our future endeavors in CTE. But if you don't know, every 2 years per Perkins 5 federal legislation, CTE has to implement the continuous improvement model. We have to complete a comprehensive local needs assessment and write a 2-year local plan. This is part of the process that we're doing right now. And so we have completed the CLNA and completed the local plan. We took the data that we gathered from our comprehensive local needs assessment to develop our strategies and our goals for the next 2 years. Some of the stakeholders for the comprehensive local needs assessment were Pender County Schools CTE staff representatives, Pender County school staff, cabinet, students, and parents, local and regional workforce development boards, representatives of special populations, and agencies serving at-risk youth. Some of our CLNA methods were workshops with local industry, partnership meetings, focus groups, interviews, surveys, community and school assessments, and some of our personal observations. I have my preaching suit on tonight, so I'm gonna need some amens, or we're gonna be here a little bit longer. All right. No, but seriously, Pender County Schools CTE vision is to ensure that our students are equipped. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you clear. Preach.
Are equipped with the tools to become enrolled, enlisted, or employed upon graduation. And the strategies that we use are to increase industry credentials and local articulation agreements, expand work-based learning to include internships, pre-apprenticeships, and externships, and align our course offerings with workforce demands. Our PCS CTE goals are to produce a qualified workforce pipeline, improve our graduation rates by increasing CTE concentrators and CTE majors. We'll talk about that in a couple slides over. Aligning our student post-secondary pursuits to their CTE concentration areas and pathways of study, increasing CTE program enrollment and completion, increasing our earned industry-recognized credentials, and increasing positive post-secondary placement, which is where enrolled, enlisted, or employed comes from. All right, so along with Perkins 5 federal legislation comes a federal accountability model, and CTE concentrators count in 7 of the 8 performance indicators that are on this accountability model. And so that's why we in Pender County Schools focus on CTE concentrators so much. Not only do CTE concentrators graduate at a higher graduation rate, they are positively placed at a higher rate, so they're enrolled, enlisted, or employed. Pender County Schools' positive placement rate is greater than 98%. CTE concentrators also take the ACT work keys, which is connected to our North Carolina School Report Card accountability model, and credentials. 82% of CTE concentrators earned industry recognized credentials. Last year, Pender County School CTE was number 4 in credential attainment rate. And so 68% credential attainment rate. This past fall, we earned over 4,500 credentials. Last year, for the total year, we earned 5,218. So we are progressing very quickly with our credentials. And our attainment rate went up as well to 78%.
Mr. Bates, Mr. Bates, CTE concentrator, just for people listening, what does it take to be considered a concentrator? Is it just taking one class?
Nope, here we go. It's right here. So a CTE concentrator is a student who has successfully completed a second or third level course in a career cluster pathway of study.
Amen.
For example, if a student is a CTE concentrator in construction, if they take core construction, carpentry 1, carpentry 2. I appreciate the amen. We're gonna get it going. But a CTE pathway major is what we aspire for our students. This is where we want our students to be. It's gonna give them a competitive advantage. And a major is a student who's completed one of those pathways of study, plus they now have taken an advanced studies course, done an internship, participated in an apprenticeship, an entrepreneurial experience, or a co-op experience, okay? And so those experiences will give our students a competitive advantage, along with the credentials that they'll also earn. Our strategies. Right now, we are partnered with Cape Fear Community College and their apprenticeship programs in electrical, automotive, machining, early childhood education, construction management, and EMS and fire. So any of our students that are currently enrolled in our high school CTE courses that align with those apprenticeships are being actively recruited by the organizations that have signed on to those apprenticeships. Not only are they actively recruited, but they're automatically pre-apprentices until they are hired by those organizations. We have a goal of increasing our school level internships, increasing the offerings for advanced studies, and continuing to offer summer internship opportunities.
Do we as Pender County Schools offer internships?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, at every high school, and then we offer them in the summertime as well. So our students can earn credit over the summer by doing a CTE internship.
Okay.
So this is last year at a glance, just some of our data. We had 2,661 CTE participants. This is an unduplicated number of participants. So this is just the raw number of students that took CTE courses. Of course, we have students taking 2, sometimes 3 CTE courses, but that's the raw number. We had 325 of our graduating seniors were CTE concentrators, and all of them took the ACT Work Keys test. 66 scored bronze, 121 silver, 63 gold, and 60 platinum. Our top credentials come from law and public safety competency, the National Incident Management System and NIMS. NCCER is a construction credential. It's a national certification for construction and educational research. That's what NCCER stands for. And first aid through our health science courses. If you add the ACT Work Keys credentials, then we actually earn 5,465 credentials. This is a chart that shows the growth of our CTE concentrators over the past 3 years. So in school year 2020-2021, 299 out of 806 of our graduating seniors were CTE concentrators. That's 37%. The following year, 21-22, 46.3% of our graduating seniors were CTE concentrators. 22-23 school year, last school year, 48.2% of our graduating seniors were CTE concentrators. This is a graph or chart that shows high school four-year cohort graduation rates. The orange is North Carolina. The blue is Pender County Schools. We do an amazing job getting our students across the finish line. And then in the green is Pender County School CTE concentrators. And each year, as you can see, we're getting better and better. Our rates are increasing. Last school year, the Pender County Schools graduated our students at a rate of 94%. Amazing job. Pender County School CTE concentrators graduated at 98%.
Amen.
Amen. Let's go. Love it. CTE enrollment, and so this is the number of students this is the number of times they have taken a course. So if you have 2,661 students, but last year's numbers show that there were 4,927 actual high school courses taken in CTE. Not courses taken, but slots for students in those courses. And the middle school level, 2,946. This is a 5-year graph of credentials and how far we've come in credentials. So in the very middle, the very center of the graph is our credential potential, and that just means how many credentials that we've offered, right, that we are offering. The column right beside that is the credential attainment rate, and then there's enrollment attainment. As you can see, in years 18, 19, 19, 20, we were offering 9,000 credentials and above. We took a dip in 2021, but we're starting to increase the number of credentials that we're offering. You see a trend from the past couple of years where we're not only offering more credentials, but we're attaining them at a higher rate. And so last year, 5,218, 69.8% attainment rate. In the fall, we had 4,500 credentials. I checked how many credentials we've already earned. To date, we have 6,003 credentials. And this year, we're offering 10,000. The numbers are not done. So I'm expecting to be on the top 10 list again. We're heading for number 1. Our students deserve it. So our programming enhancements, we are one of the only CTE programs in the state that offer health science and family and consumer science exclusively in middle school. That's a part of our vertical alignment plan. We have Paxton Patterson labs at 4 of our middle schools. These are college and career readiness labs that allow our students to explore careers. West Pender Middle School, Burgaw Middle School, Surf City Middle School, and Thompson Middle School have them. We started teaching automotive at Pender High School this spring. Early childhood education, we're partnering with Cape Fear Community College with an apprenticeship program. Those courses are going to be taught at Heidi Trask. We have an electrical apprenticeship with a partnership with Cape Fear Community College at Pender and Heidi Trask. We have an esports and computer science lab that we're starting at Pender and Heidi Trask. And then we have school-based enterprises. We already have the Pirates Den at Topsail High School. If you haven't gone and ate there, then you need to. Our students prepare meals. They have their own themes. They come up with the themes. They decorate the rooms. And it's just an amazing experience. They serve it to the teachers. And so that's one of our school-based enterprises. And then we are opening school spirit stores. Topsail Middle School has already started their store. They recently made some cinch bags for their students to take with them, the students who went to the Special Olympics. They made volleyball shirts for the volleyball team. And so our school-based enterprises are up and coming. And then we have a partnership with NCDOT in construction and highway construction. They're partnered with our Skills USA construction, carpentry, and masonry students, and they offer them an apprenticeship opportunity. We're in a marketing pilot with a K-12 marketing company called Rhodes Branding, and they're going to help us with our marketing and promotion of our CTE programs. And this is going to be a state-funded pilot. We just revamped our business advisory council. Dr. Breedlove is a part of our council. Mr. Michael Taylor is a part of our business advisory council. But the plan with the council is to have at least one representative from all 16 career clusters. And then we're doing summer teacher externships. So we do have some teachers this summer that are going out working with some organizations. I did have them vow and sign off on a contract that they will not go and work for them. They're just going to volunteer. They're not going to sign a permanent work release and just stay with that company. They are coming back to us, but they're doing externships just to learn more about the industry so they can bring that into the classroom. Our priorities moving forward are to increase CTE programmatic enrollment and completion, to have more CTSO involvement at the middle school level. That's a career and technical student organization. To increase CTE majors, of course, continue to develop and support our teachers, increase our industry credentials, increase our enrolled enlisted deployed numbers, vertically align our offerings from K-12 through post-secondary all the way into the workforce, and make sure that we are aligning our offerings with the workforce demands. And then we are planning to increase our honors offerings as well. In order for us to get our federal funding, then we have to have approval from the Board of Education at Pender County Schools. So I recommend that the board approve our local plan, which has been provided to you for the next 2 years.
Kudos to you, Mr. Bates, Mr. Dixon, as well as Ms. New and the other CT instructors. Right, I attended Greensboro. When was that, Mr. Bates? Last month.
Mm-hmm.
Last month. There's over 12,000 students at the Skills USA placement. While I've been there, I got to observe quite a few of our Pender High students in the carpentry, the masonry. I even got to sit in on some of the, not some of our students, but some of the questions that they were asking other students. It was very specific questions, and they were looking for very specific answers. It had to be a uniformity deal across the board. I would ask the board to approve this, whatever he's asking for, because this is where the rubber meets the road in society. Kudos to those instructors, Mr. Preacher Bates.
Make a motion then, based on your recommendation, to approve CTE update and local plan for the 24-25 year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion
Thank you.
carries. Yes, he does. 9.2, CTE Dell laptop purchase.
Mr. Bates, one more thing. Does Airmark have an internship for this den?
Do they have an internship? I don't know.
That'd be something to check into.
I'll
Thank
look
you.
into it.
On the CTE Dell laptop purchases that you've come to ask, is that state money? That's not coming out of local, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's state money.
And with this, how often are you seeing that these laptops are going to need to be replaced or updated? Since this is going to be something new, I guess, that the CT instructors are using.
Yeah, this will be new. But we update our labs every 3 or 4 years, so we'll put them right in that schedule. And so it's looking like a 3 to 4 year rotation.
Where will the old CTE laptops stand, these Dells, when they go to be rotated out, where will they be used at?
So by that time, we'll discard them and we'll sell them on Gov Deals, get the money back, and it goes back into our CTE program.
Okay, I make a motion then for what's been presented in our packet to approve the CTE Dell laptop purchases.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And it is unanimous. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Bates.
Not gonna pass the collection plate this time.
You just did.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Mr. Taylor, 9.3, design build contract installment request.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen of the board. This request is for the installment of the 98% design development completion. At this time, the amount would be $506,000 to be paid from Pender County's government's general fund upon your recommendation. However, I did want to take just a minute. I worked with Bordeaux the last couple of days to obtain a couple of artifacts that I feel that are important. There's been so much going on. I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to give you a summation of where we currently are, and especially the conversations related to permitting. I think you would find value in the spreadsheet that shows the current permits that we are waiting on, submitted, or approved, and the timeline of those. So I'll hand these documents out to each of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
And again, I thought it was just important that you would have an opportunity to see a summary encapsulating where we've come from since June of 2023, I think, since we approved Bordeaux Mosley as our design build team. The contract was approved in October, and then we've been working through the design process since that time.
Mr. Taylor, I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
If you go down to the bottom of the page and I'm on the project permit and fee log.
Yes, sir.
It says go over to the permitting notes column. Come up from the bottom and go 3 up. It says estimate only for budgeting purposes. He got $10,000 for DOT. If it's not costing that much, is he going to replenish that money back?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It says not, any of those items that are not started, they may have a proposed amount
Okay.
in the fees, but if you'll go up and see number 1, for example, for DEQ, their first permitting was $3,100, and it has been submitted, so we have an actual fee there. But the ones that say not started are estimates.
Board members, are there any other questions?
Yes, just one question. Just a second. Mr. Taylor, has anybody thought about, we've already set the size of the school, but has anybody thought about where the trailers will sit the following year?
Well, based on the comprehensive land use study, I do not think that we would have mobiles there the following year. Just to be honest with you, sir.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else.
I make a motion then to approve as presented the design build contract installment request.
Okay, do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The ayes
Thank you,
have
ma'am.
it. Thank you. Okay, 9.4, open meetings procedures. Mr. Cordera?
Thank you, ma'am. So I just wanted to throw a couple ideas out for the board to consider. I've noticed that, and I don't think this is through any intentional acts by staff, but I thought to improve our open meetings procedures and encourage public participation in meetings is something that we should always endeavor to do. And so I have two recommendations for the superintendent, if you could just provide feedback on, the board members could provide feedback on. The first thing is, I guess I'll make these as two motions. The first motion would be that anything that the board reviews or is provided in our public open sessions during meetings, that those materials be included in the agenda packet that's posted on our website. So for example, the PowerPoint slides that were presented, any kind of studies, the numeric study for the population data was a previous example of something that, again, I don't think was intentionally omitted, but was omitted. So I think all that stuff should be available to the public to the extent that if they want to review it in advance of the meeting to make public comment, et cetera, that would be beneficial. Does that make sense?
Second the motion.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it.
And I have one more motion. That would be that in advance, no later than 48 hours in advance of each meeting, that the agenda, or I guess no later than 48 hours in advance of each meeting, or as soon as the agenda packet is available,
Okay.
that a link to that packet be sent out by via social media.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. The ayes have it.
Will do.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Number 10, comments from board members. Okay, we will start with Mr. Springer.
I'll be real quick, but this past week was, I guess, Teacher Appreciation Week. Is that right? A lot of, teachers are where the rubber meets the road, and at times I know it's upsetting or whatever. The teacher doesn't necessarily get what they want or what they need or whatever, but know that you are appreciated and your work doesn't go unnoticed. So. Hope all the mothers had a happy Mother's Day this past week, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Cordera.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll second Mr. Springer's comments. And then I also wanted to just point out to everyone that in the intervening period between now and our next meeting, we will observe Memorial Day, and that over 1 million service members have sacrificed their lives for the freedoms that we enjoy every day. And so I would ask that on Monday, March 27th, that we remember the reason for Memorial Day, that everybody that Memorial Day is a federal holiday for is no longer among the living. And there are plenty of national cemeteries, to include one nearby in Wilmington, that the dead and fallen that have paid that price for us rest. And so may their souls rest in peace, and may their sacrifice not be in vain. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I just want to recognize 4 individuals this past Tuesday. What a wonderful opportunity to be able to celebrate the Teacher of the Year at each of our schools, and the overall Teacher of the Year, and also the Principal of the Year and Assistant Principal of the Year. This year, we were able to recognize Dr. Sonia Oates as our Principal of the Year, and every principal that was up for consideration, they are all doing a wonderful job for what we can see. Miss Paula King Jacobs was our Assistant Principal of the Year, and Miss Megan Justice was our overall Teacher of the Year. And so we want to, the board, say thank you for everything you've done. We wish we could give an award to every one of our teachers and principals, but we know that we recognize these each year, so thank you. The 4th individual was actually one of our own, and that is Mr. Brent Springer, just recently graduated from Liberty University, and so it was good to see one of our fellow board members continuing to encourage our local students and his pursuit of continuing education as well. And so I just wanted to congratulate Mr. Springer for his graduation from Liberty University.
Thanks, sir.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I also wanted to say I totally agree with everything my fellow board members have said. In this time of giving thanks to all of our principals and all of our staff. Thank you is such a small word, but we give it wholeheartedly. Everything that you do, you keep Pender County Schools and you keep us on the right path, and we thank you for it. And also, I did want to say congratulations to Mr. Springer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good job.
Thank you.
And at this time, we will have comments from our board attorney.
This is going to be a quick comment tonight, Madam Chair. Board, our state representatives are doing hard work on Jones Street. The thing I would recommend to all of you is to pay attention. There are bills being presented that impact not only this district, but other school districts throughout the state. Be paying attention to those. If you have specific questions about any legislation, feel free to reach out. But I would say that now is the time in the year when a lot of bills get proposed. By the end of this month, you will see the wheat from the chaff would be my analogy, and sort of seeing what's actually going to move. But that's a short comment for tonight. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And report from the superintendent.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Can you believe it? We have 7.5 days remaining, school days remaining in this school year. So a big shout out to our students, staff, families for the work that they have put in this year. And I say all that with just a reminder, we still have 7.5 days of school left. So we need to finish what we started and finish strong. Parents, we're in testing mode at this point. Please make sure that your students get enough rest at night, eat a good breakfast in the morning, and get to school on time each day. These tests can be grueling, as we all know, but our students are ready. Being prepared, well-fed, and attending school on time are 3 very important things that we all must do in order to make sure that our students are off to a great start every day from now to the last day of school. To the students and teachers, we wish you much success and know that you will shine because you are prepared to do so. Best wishes to each of you, and thank you again for your hard work and commitment to doing well all year long. On to some good news here as well. Pender High School's JROTC mixed raider team dominated the regional competition in Virginia, guided by Madison Gideons. They claimed top honors in all events, from the 5K to the one-rope bridge. They finished the year 7-0, so they had a perfect season. So I want to give a shout out to them. I also want to congratulate the Teachers of the Year, Teacher of the Year, Miss Megan Justice, also our Principal of the Year, Dr. Oates, out at Cape Fear Elementary, and Mrs. King, Paula King Jacobs at Bergall Middle School, and all of our Teachers of Promise, our beginning Teachers of the Year. Also want to thank our sponsors for that event. I don't know if anybody noticed, but there were many gifts for the winners. We had 57 sponsors this year, and just want to give a shout out to them and tell everyone thank you who donated. It's very important. Pender County Schools is also proud to announce that we are in receipt of the esteemed Purple Star Award designation from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. This recognition underscores Pender County Schools' unwavering commitment to support our military families within our community. The Purple Star Award initiative was launched by the Department of Public Instruction by the state for a robust military presence and dedication to serving military families. Here in Pender County, it's an honor to receive this award because it does symbolize our ongoing commitment to providing exceptional support to our military families and ensuring that they feel valued and welcome into our school system. I want to also thank, on that note, Miss Leanne Radaball, our Director of Student Services, because she really was the tip of the spear in working with our principals and getting the data in to submit to the state. So thank you to her for doing that on our behalf. Dr. Sawyer, Mr. Taylor, and I attended also the re-signing ceremony at the Watson School of Education. This is where we do a lot of our professional development. Also, we take in a lot of student teachers here in our system, and UNCW is a great partner of ours, and so we went to that re-signing, and I have both with me. If you want to take a look, we have our Purple Star Award. We will put that on display, and also the re-signing with UNCW, just the work and the partnership that we have with them. Also an award there to share with everyone. Once again, just like other board members, I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Springer. I watched you go across the stage there, and I will say that I've been in your shoes, and I say that by not just walking across the stage, but doing that as a full-time employee, as a husband, as a father. I'm just wondering when you slept to be able to do that, because it's not an easy feat. So congratulations, sir, on doing that. Also, just some final dates here and times. Tuesday, May 21st at 5:30, Pender County Schools Retirement Celebration at the Burgaw Train Depot. Friday, May 24th is, like I said, the last student day. That is a half a day for traditional and Pender Lee School. Tuesday, May 28th, 6:30 p.m., we have our Bus Driver Appreciation Banquet there at Heidi Trask High School. And lastly, graduation ceremonies. We have this Thursday on the 16th at 5 o'clock, Pender Early College High School at the Wilson Center at CFCC in Wilmington. Thursday, May 30th at 9 a.m., Heidi Trask High School on their football field. Thursday, May 30th at 11:30 a.m., Pender Innovative Learning Academy at Cape Fear Middle School. And then Thursday, May 30th at 6:30 p.m., Topsail High School on their football field. And then Friday, May 31st at 6 p.m., Pender High School on their football field. Our next meetings, Committee of the Whole, is May 28th at 9:30 a.m. And then on June the 11th at 6 o'clock p.m., our regular Board of Education meeting. Madam Chair, that concludes Superintendent's report. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Breedlove. At this time, can we have a motion for closed session?
I make a motion for closed session. I move that the board enter into closed session subject to the advice of from the attorney pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 A1 and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personal information under General Statute 115C-319, and to consider matters relating to personnel matters. The board will also enter into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11 A3 to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143.318.11 A1 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20 U.S.C. 1232G and the North Carolina General Statute 115C-402.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are now in closed session. Thank you. And we are back. Do we have a motion to come out of closed session?
I make a motion to come out of closed session.
Second.
Very good. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
And all opposed, no. Okay, thank you, and the ayes carry it. Do we have a motion to approve the HR report?
Make a motion to approve the HR report as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
And the motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
And the ayes have it. We are now adjourned.